Hey guys, today we're going to be doing the L2 30-minute practice video on BricsCAD. I'm going to be using this PDF for any dimensions that I'm going to be using, but I'm going to drag it off to the side monitor and you won't be able to see it. To start, we're going to draw our property lines. To do that, you use the L command and click a point, and then I'm going to do @ symbol, whatever distance you want to go, so 261.47, the less than sign, with the bearing, so north 78 degrees, 16 minutes and 22 seconds east. And then you're just going to do the same process all the way around. Okay, now that we've got our property lines in, put these on the property line layer. I'm going to select them and run LP, and then I'm going to draw our property pins. We'll use a 2-foot radius circle on all 4 corners. Okay, and I'm going to select one of the circles and one of the texts. I'm going to run select similar. And I'm going to put these on the meets and bounds layer. This should be CS and 1 meet. Perfect. Now I'll put in our landscape strips and our building setback. So it looks like we have 2 10-foot landscape strips on the sides of our property. I'm going to put these on the landscape strip layer like this. Okay, now we'll put in the building setback. Looks like we have 15-foot setbacks from the front and back, and 30 from the left and 25 from the right. So I'll start with our 15-foot, then I'll do our 30, and our 25-foot setback. We can connect these with a fillet radius of 0 to trim away the excess. And I'll select these and put them on the building setback layer. Now that these are in, I'm going to label these, so I'll set my UCS to world, and I will copy from the 30 scale. And then I'm going to set my ortho to the longest property line and paste. They're upside down, so I'm going to flip that over. For our landscape strips, they were 10 feet. So I'm going to edit this 10 feet. I'm going to copy this down over here. Our building setbacks, we had 15 in the front. And in the back. And then we had 30 from the left side, right here. Put 30 feet. And 25 feet from this side. Perfect, so now we've got that all labeled. We'll start wireframing. Our first constraint is going to be this building setback line. So I'm going to offset this 1 foot just to make sure we don't touch it, and I'm going to set this to the 0 layer. Our next constraint is going to be this side landscape strip. So I'm also going to offset this 1 foot and bring this to the 0 layer. Now that we have our 2 constraints, I'm going to work right to left up here with my, we want to be ortho to here. we want to move this Okay, so now we have a line orthogonal to our longest property line that we'll be drafting against, 1 foot away from the landscape strip to make sure we don't touch it. I'll offset this 30 feet for our drive aisle, and then another 5 for our hatch before the building. Then we'll have an 83-foot long building. We're going to have an 8-foot sidewalk along the side. We're going to have a 19-foot deep parking row, a 30-foot drive aisle, and a 19-foot parking row. Now from the bottom, we're going to do a 19-foot parking row, a 35-foot drive aisle, 5-foot hatch for the building, and an 83-foot building. Okay, now we have a spot for our building. I'm going to go ahead and draw the rectangle in. Now that I've got that in, I'm going to run LP1. I'm going to delete these sidelines. LP1. I'm going to move this inside. Move this inside. I'm going to scale this down to about there. This goes on the CS and 1 building and CS and 1 building layer. I'm also going to offset the building 1 foot inside and set this polyline width to 1.5 just to make our building stand out. And I'm going to set the building to the CA building, site building layer. Now that we've got our dimension, I'll leave that in there. We had a 30-foot, we had a 5-foot hatch and a 30-foot drive aisle over here. Delete that. We can go ahead and put our parking in here. I know that this is our drive aisle here, so I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the imaginary road. And I know our parking is going to want to start along here, so I'm going to give this, do the BB command so our line doesn't disappear. This is a radius of 5 up here, and then a radius of 0. Turn that away. And then it looks like we have 12 parking spaces here. So I'm going to draw a 19-foot line. I'm going to offset this 9 feet because we have 9-foot wide parking multiple times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Alright, looks like we can fit 12 spots here. Connect to this, trim this away and get out of my way. I'm going to double check how many parking spaces I've done with the kick command. 12 spots, it's perfect. And then it looks like we extend a random amount that way with a radius of 5. So we'll tie that in later. I'm going to join our concrete and put it on the CA site concrete layer, and put our parking on our CS stripe layer. CS site stripe layer. Okay. Now we're gonna have some parking right here. Typically we do a 9-foot island, so I'm just gonna offset 9 feet from here, and I'm going to trim this away. This should be 19 feet long, and it looks like we have a handicap spot which we do an 8-foot spot, 5-foot hatch, 11 feet for the van, and now we'll do 9 feet for normal parking, which we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more spots of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots. I can bring this all the way back down to here. I can trim this away right here, trim that away there. So now we typically go 5 feet from the last parking space and then over. This just gives us room to give us a 5-foot radius here, and if a car is parked right here, it'll be able to turn around and get out. And then we'll connect this back up with a 0 radius here. Perfect. And now, since this is a 9-foot island, we'll do 4.5-foot radius. And trim this away. Join that. Alright, and now it looks like our curve is going to stop about here, so you can use this BB command right here, right there, and it just snaps away from the line there. We'll connect these with a radius of 0, trim that away. These will go on the stripe layer. So we'll all go on the stripe layer here. I'm going to close off our area for a hatch later. Also going to close this off for a hatch later. Perfect. Now it looks like our drive aisle ends with the building up here, so I'm going to draw a line ortho to that and connect this with the 0 radius. So this will come down. Go ahead and put this on the concrete layer. There we go. We'll start our parking here. I know we had a 30-foot drive aisle here. Delete that away. And we want 19-foot parking. Looks like we have a 10-foot radius and a 3-foot radius, so I'm going to give this a 14-foot island. Like that. Then from here, I'm going to draw a 19-foot line for our depth and offset this 12 times for 12 parking spots, 9 feet each, M for multiple. That should be 12. Join those. Put these on the concrete layer. Now it looks like we have a 26-foot radius here. Which it does not like, so I'm going to draw a circle, 26 feet. I'm going to move it and snap to the quadrant, to the nearest point on this line, and now I can move this orthogonally until it looks about good. Now I can fillet this here and extend this to the line, trim away here. Now you've got a nice curve for a car to drive on through. I'm going to put these on the stripe layer. Now join this up. I'm going to run our curb command, CC. Now I got our curb and gutter in. I can hatch this up. Pick points within boundary. I'm gonna put this on our stripe layer here. I'm gonna hatch within this as well for our handicap spot. Alright, now we've got our hatching and our curb and gutter and our building. We can start labeling. Label our spots first. We had 12 spots here, 12 spots here, and 7 there. A good way to double check is the kik command, K-I-K. It'll tell me 7 spaces down there, so that's correct. Now I can put our ADA labels, copy these UCS World, set my UCS to site, paste, advanced font, like so. Now we've got our parking labels in, our ADA spots. We'll do some directional arrows for traffic. So I'll copy this UCS World, copy, and then I'm going to paste it, UCS Site. And these are going to be two-way drive aisles. So always make sure our right side is straight. Put these in, got our arrows. I'm going to label our building like this. Alright, we've got our building dimensions in. We can start with dimensioning our parking spaces and our drive aisles. So we'll come down here and with a UCS World, I'm going to copy this dimension right here. And then set my UCS back to site. And paste. I'm going to rotate this orthogonally. Snap to point. Snap perpendicular. That is the correct dimension. There. I'm going to put this on the CSN1 dim layer for site dimensions. And we like to label all our drive aisles. And always label this middle curb. It's very important. Here I'm just holding shift while I rotate. $35 feet. Now we're going to do our parking depth. Are you not copying? Snap to the intersection there. I'm going to run CC. Yeah, it should be good. 18 feet. by 9 feet wide. We're going to label our sidewalk 8 feet. Always dimension to the outer polyline for the building. It's 8 feet. Gonna measure our drive aisle, which is 30. Should be ortho. I'm gonna put a stop sign at the entrance. All right. Nine feet parking. Okay, that should be good for dimensions. Now we just want to label our radius, so we'll do dim rad. Always select this middle line, 5 foot radius. There we go. And that should be it. Thanks for watching, guys.